All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Monday night team call. I'm so glad that so many of you could join us tonight. I know that we are literally right in the holiday season, and there's so many things that you could be doing, and you chose to be here. So that tells me that you're excited about your business. You want to learn, you want to grow, and you want to keep moving forward. So tonight, we're going to kind of continue where we left off last week. Jamie and I had the privilege of attending an Eric Worre amazing conference in Las Vegas. And so 30 minutes flew by last week, and we gave you some nuggets, and the response was so amazing that we decided to kind of do a part two and see if we could fill you in just a little more about what our experience was. And, the whole focus of GoPro is for all of us to become, a network marketing professional. When I look at the Juice Plus business, I kind of see it as we're in the wellness industry. This is straight out of Carrie Daigle's notes. We're in the wellness industry, but our means of distribution of our amazing products is through network marketing. So we have the joy and the privilege of being connected to two amazing, growing industries. And so we want to become professional in both of these industries so that we can experience what Eric Worre talked about, and that's freedom and the ability to design our own lives. And when you look at the network marketing professional arena that we were in, so many things fall into this umbrella. And they talked tirelessly about thinking like a professional, acting like a professional, developing the mindset of an entrepreneur, instead of an employee. They talked about focus, clarity, and to become self-aware. That was a big thing. Who are you? Where are you? What do you want? And so today, I was visiting with the amazing Kathy Crockett, 100 Club. I don't know, Kathy, I think we were on Voxer for 40 minutes going back and forth. And it was one of those rich, ongoing conversations that I didn't want it to stop. But Kathy has some real amazing ideas about clarity and focus. And so I asked her to be on the call tonight to share some of these nuggets with us. Kathy, do you want to unmute yourself, honey?
All right. Well, hey, I'm loving seeing everybody's faces, and it's just so encouraging to see our team come together. And I love Terry's leadership with this call. Just a few minutes. It really started with David challenging some of us who are going to P4Q to ask, what one thing do you really think helped you in your business and really mattered and really kind of helped you turn the corner on some things? And so for me, when I reflected over that, I just kind of shared, and Terry said, hey, would you share that tonight? So I don't know if this is anything earth shattering, and I don't even know if it necessarily applies to everyone, because I think we're all uniquely gifted to do this business. One thing I love about our business is we have some really strong scaffolding and structure, but within that, there's flexibility that we can lean into areas that we're really good at and we enjoy doing. So for me, when I was reflecting back over kind of what was it that seemed to really do well with our business, what strategies, what things. And I think for me, it really was when I would get serious about what is my next step. Wendy Campbell calls it next step thinking. And I'd always heard that next step thinking, yeah, I got it. But I don't know if I ever really appreciated what that meant until I saw how it unfolded with our team. And as a leader, sometimes I wouldn't do that well. And I think our team, it's not that we weren't doing great. We were still doing good. I want us to always remember the good we do. But when I really thought about it, how did we seem to get to the next level or take that next thing? It really was about trying to just, what is the next step? And you may have 50 steps that you need to take to get to QNMD or whatever thing you're going after. And that can sometimes feel really overwhelming. So you don't even want to try. As crazy as it sounds, I can remember when Michael Hecht and Ken Stevenson held me hostage, encouraged me to sign up to run a marathon. I was like, are you crazy? I said, I introduced you people who do marathons. I'm not running the marathon. And Ken Stevenson's like, oh yeah, you're running it. You signed us up. You're doing it. And I was like, there's no way. But you know what? There was a way. It was one step at a time. It started with this little bitty training schedule, and Michael Hecht held my hand like I was a little infant and said, okay, can you just go run a mile? And I said, I'll try. And I ran a mile. And he goes, okay, now we're going to run 2 miles. And then it ended up 26.2. And the 0.2 is a big deal, I want to say. So it was not easy. And so sometimes I want to remember what that feels like to someone who starts our business. And we may try to be telling them about all these things, and they may feel really overwhelmed. But when I could keep it really simple for myself and for our team and just say, okay, do you think you could text 5 people a video if I sent it to you and kind of gave you the verbiage? Could you do that? Does that sound like something you might could do? Do you know 5 people who you might could do that for? And they might say, well, yeah, I think I could. And I might say, well, do you think you might could do it this afternoon? Is there any reason why you couldn't do that today? And then sometimes they would say back, well, I think I could do that today. Or they may say, no way, I can't do that today. I was like, well, when do you think you could do that? What does that look like for you? And so that just starts a really good conversation. And so just to keep it super simple, I think I might say things like, well, hey, let's get more customers, or let's do more of this or more of that. But when I would put a time frame on it, it was really interesting, the difference in the product, how much we were able to accomplish and the clarity we had. There are some people on this call, I'm looking at your faces, just smiling, thinking about those conversations we had. It all kind of started back in the day with Nicole. She said, I have to have X dollars by August 1st, or I have to go back to work. And it wasn't chump change either, man. It was a significant amount. So we got busy. We put a crazy plan together. But you know what? Through that clarity and that focus, knowing that stuff had to get done today, we didn't have time to do it next month. It was remarkable what she did. And then another team member, life changed for her pretty drastically overnight, and she had to build 4 sales coordinator legs in a year. And she did it because she knew there was some clarity about what we wanted to do. Now, I also think that opens the door to so many other things. Like if we know we need 4 sales coordinator legs in a year, we're going to have to start cultivating some relationships. When I got stuck, and yes, I got stuck, sorry to disappoint anyone, Kathy Crockett, not only did I get stuck, I went severely backwards, severely. David Beavers mentioned that I mentioned to David that I was maintaining. He goes, well, that's interesting. So you've gone from 27 club to 7 club. That's a great maintenance plan. I was like, wow, thanks for that info. So what did that look like when I made the decision that I really did want to rebuild? Well, it meant I had to get really uncomfortable. My next step was I had to get a lot more customers, and I had to get some team members that it was the right season for them to grow, which meant that I had to go back to some of my customers who had canceled because I'd already blown through any list I had. And Terri kept encouraging me, keep sharing. I was like, well, who am I supposed to share with? I've already gone through every remote person I can even think of. Well, guess what that left? That left a chicken list and customers who had canceled. How fun do you think that was for me to think about? But because it was my next step, I knew I needed to take it. And you know who I had to go talk to? Ken Stevenson. Anybody know Ken Stevenson? He just happens to be an orthopedic surgeon who, in some ways, is the greatest guy on the planet. But he's a passionate guy that can be pretty, not a little scary. And here I am, I'm a teacher and he's a doctor. But because I knew my next step was to try to reach out to more people on a list, I'd already gone through the comfortable list. And I kept telling Terri, I don't have anybody else. She goes, really? Keep thinking. And I kept looking at that chicken list and I was so frustrated because I was like, dang it, I'm going to have to go talk to those people. And on that chicken list, I had 5 or 6 that made so much fun of me, and they said no, but Ken said yes. And now they're a Q&D. So you never know what's right around the corner. And I just want to encourage you, take that next step, because that's where personal growth is. That's where you get to lean in to do this business the way that you really are truly uniquely gifted to do it. And trust your sponsors, trust your sideline buddies that are encouraging you, and take the next step. You don't have to take 50, but take the next one. And it might be really interesting to see where it leads.
Thank you, Kathy. There is something magical about understanding that next step concept. It's a skill set, and I think it's a skill set that can be learned. One of the things that Eric did speak about was next step, being self-aware, totally clear on where it is that you're going. And there were so many concepts that we talked about. The other one was the calendar. And that in this, first of all, that this business is the most forgiving business, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. But that if you really want to move through the marketing plan, the calendar has to become your boss. And Kathy, that ties right into your next step thinking strategy, is knowing how to use the calendar and use it well. So this was a concept that Jamie and I, for most of these presentations, our mouths were like open. Oh my gosh. And so I asked Jamie to share some ideas about making the calendar your boss and continuing the idea of being self-aware. Jamie, would you like to share?
I would. I'm still sort of in this trance from Kathy Crockett. Like, she speaks so eloquently and so, like, I feel like she's just speaking to me. So I'm still there, Kathy. So let me shift into coach mode a little bit, right? Now, Terri, thank you for another opportunity, but I think what Kathy is saying is very spot on. And we have a lot to be excited about coming up. December, there's two paths you can go. You can check out completely. And this is what Eric Worre said, and it made me giggle. He said, I know some of you in this room are high income producers and make a wonderful paycheck. And you probably also feel pretty guilty sitting here because you've already checked out. This is right before Thanksgiving. He said, you probably already have checked out, and you're probably also making arrangements to start your business over January 1. He said, so at this point, there are really 6 weeks of unproductive activity. And then he encouraged us to think a little bit about, if you were to have to go to an office every day from 9 to 5, which, the luxury of our business affords us a different lifestyle than that, right? But if you were to go to your boss and say, hey, guess what? It's holiday season. I'd rather go Christmas shopping, or I'd rather go do this. Come on, go with me. What do you think your boss would say? Your boss would say, you're nuts, you're fired, if you wanted to take these next couple weeks off. And so back to what Terri says, you have to be your own tough boss. You have to have a standard of expectations of yourself that this is a really exciting period of time. And let me put it to you this way. I am not a numbers person. I've learned to kind of have to be in this business. But let's assume that one of your goals eventually is to make a salary that will bring you home and excite you. For me, that initially was a 6-figure income. For some of the people at the network marketing convention, that was a 7-figure income. But shifting it down to this conversation, and I assume that you want to make a 6-figure income. Would anybody be excited about that? Would anybody be excited about 6 numbers in your paycheck, right? I mean, let's be honest. I think we all would, right? Good people do good things with good money, okay? So if you break it down on an hourly wage, that means, let's assume you're already a 6-figure earner, that's about $50 an hour. For some of us, that's huge. For others, that might not be a big deal, but a night out at Chili's with your family. But when you start to look into it in terms of what it costs on a daily basis, that's a $400 a day workday. And so as we head into this holiday season, what does $400 daily mean to you? What kinds of activities correlate to $400? And so that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about, because your calendar is an indicator of where you allocate your time, where you see value. And in this season, when you already have so many people that are going to be excited about our message, they may not jump on board tomorrow, but I know come December 26th, they will. Go back to what is your hourly wage and how many active days do you have versus what they call lost days. So the question I love that he asked was, how many lost days, and I'm going to ask you this, how many lost days have you had in the month of December, right? Or even in the last 30 days. And now I want you to calculate that times 400. The good news is moving forward, we have an exponential growth season ahead of us. And it starts today. So I'm going to share with you a few secrets from Eric Worre, and then I'm going to kind of go through what Terri and I compose are some challenges for you for the upcoming holiday. Secret number 1, create hours that you respect. So there's a lot that's going to be tugging at you this holiday season. And you know what? The beauty of our business is you should be doing the things that to celebrate the season. So create work hours that you respect and make your work hours sacred. There is going to be a lot tugging at you, from holiday parties to Christmas shopping. I've got to wrap those gifts. I got to go to my children's performances at school. Whatever it looks like in your life, on a weekly basis, make your work hours unbendable. So if that friend calls and say, hey, let's go grab a holiday lunch together, it's not that you don't want to, but if you're willing to forego $400, $800 for a 2-hour lunch, where are you going to make up for it in the week? All right. Number 2, how do you organize? Kathy was talking about get clear. One of the biggest problems that I have is I will allocate my business hours, but I won't get specific with my time. Here are some of the mistakes that I've made, and I want to encourage you not to make the ones that I do. I think Facebook is going to generate money for my paycheck, and it doesn't. And so when I have maybe a work hours from 9 to noon, I find myself sometimes drowning in Facebook. And before I know it, I've been on it for an hour and a half, and I have not produced a single order, or I've not produced a single conversation with someone about coming to team. So guard your time wisely. What I mean by that, if you know, let's say on Monday, that you only have an hour to work, divide that hour into 20-minute increments so that you can focus on the most high-paying activities. Number 1, customer care. Number 2, making sure that if you're trading your time for activities, that you are getting in front of a prospect, meaning you are on the phone or you are in person. Facebook or text or email does not constitute a high income producing activity. Remember that $50 an hour, $400 a day. And because our schedules are going to be different, through the holiday season, you have to guard your time. So here's a thought process. If you know that you have 9 to noon, maybe you'd look at 9 to 9:30 as your social media time. And I love what the strategy about social media is. If you are going to use it as part of your current marketing efforts, and I do encourage that, make sure that instead of just putting a post and praying about it, I love that concept, post and pray that someone responds, likes, or responds to you. Instead, how about you spend some time going into other people's space and genuinely doing it, liking and commenting on their posts, creating a bigger reach in your specific social media. Also, why don't you, instead of just commenting, why don't you send them a voice message? If it's their birthday, let them hear your voice. If it's something that they're celebrating, let them hear your voice. But allocate a certain amount of time for your social media, 9 to 9:30. Let's say that you want to allocate 30 minutes to do your mailer. But the point is that you want to get so focused that you want to write it down and maximize your time wisely. Maybe an hour on customer care and an hour of prospecting. And so suddenly that 3-hour block of time that didn't really have clarity now suddenly has a focus for your time. Does that make sense? That really shifted my business when I looked at what I was making an hour and how I was allocating my time. Finally, like I said, if let's say you're somebody that only has maybe 15 minutes a day, and I've heard this a lot from people, listen, I have a full-time job outside of Juice Plus, and I really want to give it my all, but I just don't feel like I have the time. Well, let's assume the only time you have on a given day is 15 minutes. What do you think is the best activity that you can be doing day in, day out for that 15 minutes? Is it social media? Does that provide for your paycheck, or is it picking up the phone and calling one person a day? So the time that you do have, the trade-off should be in front of somebody else. So here's our holiday challenge to you. Terri and I's collaborative effort today. It was fun coming up with this with you, Terri. First thing is, and this is your homework, maybe you share it with a sideline buddy or an upline mentor. Okay, number 1, in specifically knowing what you want to achieve this month. First of all, you have to know where you are currently in the marketing plan. And what does that mean? If you are a virtual franchisee, understand that that's a 14% commission level on all of your orders. That's a lot of extra money per month for you. Understand where you are and what that means to your paycheck, but also understand where you're going, right? How many of you where you are right now understand what it takes to be and go where you need to go? And if you're not sure, that's where you involve your mentor or your uplines to help create that clarity. Number 2, knowing where you want to go, just like Kathy was reiterating, create right now goals. Sometimes we look at the staircase, but we miss the steps along the way. And so the key here is to keep it simple, right? But what is a right now goal for tomorrow? Maybe it is reaching out to 5 people about the shred, and do that in that allotted time, and then you're finished, right? You're finished with your workload that day. The second thing or third thing is, what are you going to do every day? What are you going to do every day? Remember, the highest income producing activity for you, the highest return on your time, is to get in front of people. Texting is a great option, but what about a voice text? What about a phone call? Keep your rhythm simple. Fourth, right now the shred message is a very, very, very important message. But my question to each of you is, what does your shred message sound and look like? What are you telling people? What are you asking people? And are you practicing it? It's one thing to say, oh, it's a detox program. You want to come jump in, and crickets. It's much different to have a conversation with your upline and craft what's your position on shred, what it's done for you, and the quality of questions that you're prepared to ask somebody else to see if it's a fit for them. And finally, what does your calendar look like? If I were you, I would circle the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th. I'm not suggesting you wait until then. I'm not suggesting you start promoting for events then. But those are some pretty key days. I would make sure to have some sort of event on those days so that when people are ready to make a decision, you're the first person they think of. Mm-hmm. But what are you doing between now and then? I'm going to encourage you not to wait for your upline or your sidelines or your team for their events, and encourage you to do your own. And in combination with what's already existing on the calendar. But if you were to open your calendar today, assume it's like a reality TV show and they're following you, right? They're following you to see what your Juice Plus business is all about. And you're excited to this month hit what goal? If that reality TV show was to follow you, what would your actions say about your goals that you speak out loud? Are they a match? Do they correlate? And that was something Eric Worre mentioned. I thought, ooh, that's really interesting. So those are our challenges. Start with 5 per day, 5 conversations per day. And we can't wait to hear how that works out for you.
Thank you, Jamie. And hold the line. One of the things, this is the Eric Worre GoPro book, and it's on Amazon for $9. And you're worth every penny of that. But the first 3 people who post on Team Up, what is your shred message? Maybe a text that you're going to send to 5 people tomorrow. Because if you start building and promotion of the shred message now, then on the 26th, people are going to be happy and excited to hear from you. So what is your shred text message going to be? The first 3 people that post that on Team Up or your own team, I'll gift you with an Eric Worre GoPro book. Okay, so share that text message with us so that we can, all benefit and all grow from this. Because I guarantee you, if you're touching base with, say, 5 customers or 5 prospects every day, quick, fast, saying, this is shred, this is what it's done for me, I can't wait to share it with you. I know you're going to love this program. It's a perfect match for you. Maybe send a picture of yourself. I've done 3 shreds. It's affecting me like this, that, or the other. Get excited, passion, and emotion, and share that with us. That would be so exciting. All right, guys. I'm going to just leave you with 3 thoughts. This is from Eric Worre. Proper expectations. Guys, there is going to be some ups and some downs. There are some skills that you need to develop. There are some habits that you need to develop. So think bigger. Remember Marianne Williamson and that great verse that she says, "Your playing small does not serve the world." So think bigger, be stronger, guys. Stop letting the tiniest little thing knock you out of your game and move faster. Success loves speed. Okay, next Monday night, we're going to be interviewing some girls on fire. No, we love you. We appreciate you. I want to see those text messages. What are you going to be texting your customers and your prospects about Shred coming up the first of the year? Take care, guys.